And now it is time for the Patriot Church, hosted by Pastor John Vacchiano.
All right. Hey, good morning, all you lovers of God, country, and family. We have an exciting show for you, an informative show for you this morning, and we are glad you are tuning in. We got a great friend of mine, James Shaw, is running for governor of the great state of Florida, and we're so excited to hear about what you have to say this morning, brother. Let me just go ahead and share a couple of announcements real quick this morning. As we're moving, here we are going to the end of May already. I can't believe it. So this Saturday, of course, by the way, we had a great Patriot Pentecost Sunday last Sunday, so make sure you check online to check out the message there. And it was just a great time together we had for our Patriot Pentecost Sunday. This Saturday is Truth Fest up in Brevard County, and that's going to be this Saturday at the Brevard County Government Center, Saturday, May 30th, 7 to 9:30. I believe the doors open at 6 o'clock. Speakers there are going to be retired Colonel Tony Thacker, and they're only bringing one one governor candidate in, I guess, at a time right now for Truth Fest. So Paul Renner is going to be up there this Saturday. And then, of course, this Sunday, we're having a special edition of Patriot Church. We're going to be back at what I call the old Cemetery Hill Church service there at New Hope Ministries, where we have Cross Style Academy, 4425 71st Street in Winter Beach, here in Indian River County, right in the center of the county. Old Cemetery Hill Church, we call it, because we're right next door to the Winter Beach Cemetery, and that's going to be this Sunday. They begin. It's 10 o'clock service. I think they might start at 10:30, but we'll be there by 10 for sure. And of course, regular services during the week, Tuesday, Wednesdays. Here we are, Wednesday morning already. And then also June 14th, mark this one on your calendar. I'll be getting the flyer out as soon as I receive it. June 14th at the Space Coast Convention Center. Our friends from Ronald Reagan Club and others are going to be gathering together. Of course, June 14th is President Trump's birthday, so it's going to be a birthday celebration. And I believe they're also having a governor candidate there as well. I believe Lieutenant Governor is going to be there. So I haven't seen any major kind of multiple uses of folks to come and talk. So it's important that you get out and ask those tough questions, of course, and make sure you understand, do the vetting of the candidates. And that's why our brother Jim's on this morning. So, brother, God bless you. Thank you for being here this morning. It's just amazing what you have done, what you are doing. You are such a man of God. I want to give a couple of quotes just to kind of kick us off this morning to let the folks know exactly, what kind of focus we're talking about. A couple weeks ago, for the rededication Sunday on May 17th, I shared just an awesome quote from an unbelievable source, the Pulpit of the American Revolution, Political Sermons of 1776 with Historical Notes by John Wingate Thornton. And in this preface, before I get to one of my favorite quotes, this is now becoming one of my top 3 quotes now. He said this about politics and religion, because as Patriot Church, we believe that we are to engage. We believe that there's a synergy, not the separation of church and state, of course. And man, it is just powerful to understand the mindset of the founding fathers back in the day. And it's so opposite of what we're hearing from these naysayers and these trolls today. But listen to this quote. It says, "The true alliance between politics," this is right in the preface of his book, "the true alliance between politics and religion is the lesson inculcated in this volume of sermons and apparent in its title, The Pulpit of the Revolution. It is the voice of the fathers of the Republic. Enforced by their example, they invoked God in their civil assemblies, called upon their chosen teachers of religion for counsel from the Bible, and recognized its precepts as the law of their public conduct. The fathers did not divorce politics and religion, but they denounced the separation as ungodly. I love that quote. And to kick you off this morning, brother, this is a reason why you're on the show, brother, because folks have got to know the urgency and the opportunity we have in this election. We're seeing these rhinos falling left and right just recently in these primaries. We're seeing these folks who have said they're America first, say they love God, country, and family, but then we look and we watch how they vote. And they vote. We can't even pass voter integrity law through the Senate. It's absolute craziness. So here is a prophetic word from President James Garfield in 1880. He ran for president, and he was elected president in 1881. And he proclaimed this on his election day. He said, "Now more than ever, the people are responsible for the character of their Congress. If that body be ignorant, reckless, and corrupt, it is because the people tolerate ignorance, recklessness, and corruption. If it be intelligent, brave, and pure, it's because the people demand these high qualities to represent them in the national legislature. If the next centennial does not find us a great nation, it will be because those who represent the enterprise, the culture, and the morality of the nation do not aid in controlling the political forces." Brother, that's why I love you. That's why you're my brother in Christ, because I know that you understand the basis of our country, the foundation of our country, and this is why we need men and women like you to get elected in this next turn of elections, because we have an opportunity that was prophesied to us by Garfield and others, that we can turn the tide here so we don't slip off into the abyss of socialism, Marxism, and everything else. So God bless you, brother. Just share, brother. Share with us, because we need to
Thank you
know.
for having me, John. It's interesting how you presented your start, but I don't know if you know this, but I have the blood of the founding fathers pouring through my veins. I belong to the Mayflower Society.
Wow.
I don't know if you knew that or not. So we've been here since the boat.
Yes.
As far as my family's concerned, 102 people came off that boat.
Yes, sir.
54 survived, and that bloodline's in me. So I say kudos to everything you said.
Amen. We're going to be up there August 1st doing the rededication of the Founders Monument, and I know exactly right where that Mayflower Society is, right there in Plymouth. It's amazing.
Yes, and we're going back a ways. Like I said, I didn't expect to go this way, but Antifa, about 6 years ago, was heading over to Gettysburg to knock over some of the monuments. And my great-grandfather actually he put up the monument with President McKinley back in about right around the turn of the century. And they didn't mess with it.
Yeah.
We had a good gang there waiting for him. Antifa left Gettysburg. They went over to Baltimore, and they ended up throwing poor Christopher Columbus's bust in the Chesapeake Bay.
Right.
So these battles are real.
Yeah.
And we have to stay firm. We have to stay firm. And getting back to how we run the country, I believe politics come from policies. Policies come from beliefs, and beliefs come from your faith.
Yes.
So those that think politics is not tied into the faith, they haven't followed the dots. They really haven't, because actually how your politics run should be parallel with what you believe and who you believe in.
Exactly.
And we believe in Christ. We're Christian brothers.
Yes, sir. It's amazing to see that. We know we have people that talk a good game, that have been in and out, that have been in Congress for years, in the Senate for years. It's amazing to see that we have such an opportunity right now to really see that tide turn if we continue to fight this good fight in this 250th anniversary year. Again, I think people are waking up to the fact, as what Garfield said there, that we have gotten to this point in history because we have not been willing to continue to fight this good fight, hold people accountable, just allow those who are ignorant, who are reckless, corrupt, to be in our government for all these years, and we've bought the lie that our vote doesn't matter, it doesn't count, and it's just not true. We've seen it time and time again. Garfield, when he won, he won one of the closest elections himself, and so he understands, and what he's saying just rings so loud and clear for us today.
Yes. Well, there's a verse in Mark 4, and it says that the cares of the world choke out the word of God, choke out Jesus. And we are in a society, very modern society, I guess you could say, where we're overcome. It used to be just sports and whatever, but now it's the whole internet. That cell phone that we have in front of our hands is just opening up all kinds of things to take our minds away from reality. And it could be sports, it could be fun, it could be vacations. And the next thing you know, we forget about the reality of all these nice things that we have in this country. And we could lose them. Yep. We could lose them. The communists could come in, try to get us to slowly get away from our innovativeness, slowly put us on a ship and mentally float us away till we forget about and we don't give thanks for what we have here. And we have to fight for it. It didn't come easy. It did not come easy. As I said, the founding fathers, what they did, particularly John Hancock, when he signed that Declaration of Independence, he said, boys are going to know who I am.
Yep.
And we could talk about money and affordability. We could talk about all kinds of political things, which should be discussed. But ultimately, if we don't have a foundation of righteousness, and you're a preacher, you know this, what's it say in Proverbs? If we don't have a foundation, what are the righteous to do? Yep. You need a foundation, and it should be based on integrity, righteousness, and not being swerved, because we're living in a world, particularly with lobbyists, with politicians, all of a sudden making millions and millions of dollars. Where does it all come from? It comes from trying to sway people. But when you know that your spirit and your soul's in the balance, money all of a sudden doesn't mean that much anymore.
Right.
And what's right means what it does.
I think a lot of good folks have given in to that machine, that money machine that we see time and time again, whether it's a Senate race or a governor's race or whatever it is, where millions and millions of dollars are pouring into that. But I know, I'm here to say again today that votes, that if we turn out the vote and people actually, and the church actually does the job of voting, then the votes will beat out the money.
Yes.
Because you can only buy so much airtime and buy so many quote unquote votes. But if the real lovers of God, country, and family, those people who are concerned about their kids and their grandkids, who want to leave a legacy, who want to pass on the baton, the torch of liberty to their kids and their grandkids, we need to do what's right. We just can't give in to the fact that, well, we're going to hold our nose and vote again. We don't have to do that in this race with you. We can understand that you are a man of God. You have a precious family, a wonderful heritage, your great business background, great savvy, great mind. And this is you're the kind of guy that we need to take us into the future for Florida, because there are attacks coming now, and there's going to be more attacks later on. And we need somebody in there that's going to be able to discern what's going on in the world around us, in the state around us, so that we can better prepare and defend that for that. So give us some thoughts.
No, when I'm speaking, I say, why should you vote for me? First off, I won't embarrass you. I have nothing in my closet. All right. In my world, 2 + 2 still equals 4. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do any drugs. I'm not on any antidepressants. I don't say that because I have a halo around my head so tight, my brains are going to burst. But the public, the people deserve somebody with some clarity. And that's what we need going into these races is clarity. And John, when I ran for ag commissioner, and I funded it myself. I had a few donations, but 98% myself. We got close to 600,000 votes.
Wow.
They were expecting something around 10 or 20,000, 600,000. And Wilton Simpson, who was president of the Senate, had the backing of DeSantis and Trump in their heyday. We're talking 2022. If I would have got a couple 100,000 more, I could have won that race.
Mm-hmm.
So the race isn't, the vote is not wasted.
Right.
We have a chance in this.
Yes.
We have a chance. When I decided to run in, I saw Byron. This isn't character assassination. It's truth, whatever it is. He was viewed as the $67 million man.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it said, $67 million, because that's how much money he had brought in at the time, $67 million. The headline had nothing to do with the people. It had nothing to do with righteousness. It had nothing to do with plans or anything like that. It was how much money did he pull in? And I think we've seen this play out so many times as citizens and as human beings. Money do? It just invites people into your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Somebody gives you a lot of money, it's awful hard, fast, and not give them a favor, because that's what it's all about.
Yep.
But I pray to God he keeps me on the straight and narrow, and that's why I'm in the race. I've run a state race before. I know what it's like. I've been up and down the state, meeting old friends, talking, and things look very good. And there's 7 people in this, and it can get so diluted. It might only take 3.5, 400,000 votes to win.
Mm-hmm.
This is up for grabs.
Yeah.
This is when the grassroots, through God, can pull off a miracle.
Yeah.
It's right there.
It's a great reminder. And again, to get the folks out to vote in the primary is so crucial. We got to make phone calls. We got to knock on doors. We got to tell our friends. We've got to continually talk this up. The date, of course, is August 18th, and you've got to get out to the primaries. You guys have seen on a national level what has happened when people get out and vote. We've seen a rhino after rhino now starting to fall across our country. We've seen it in Texas now. We've seen it all around our country, and it should spur on those later primaries to really increase the voter attendance, in these primary races, especially on the local level. I mean, my goodness, here in our county or Indian River County, we have seen what has happened when folks fail to get out and vote in the primaries and think they can just wait till November to vote. We've lost great school board candidates because people didn't turn out the vote. They just didn't get out and vote, whether they didn't turn in their mail-in or whatever it was. We have had candidates that have won on day one. They've won on election day. They've won and still end up losing because folks didn't turn the vote out because there was a rush of mail-in votes that came in or whatever. So we've got to get the vote out. And like you said, there's 7 candidates that are running. And it won't take, if you get a turnout like you did as agricultural commissioner, my goodness.
Yes,
we could
all
see
grassroots,
yeah,
Pastor
it'd
John.
be all grassroots. It's amazing.
What you're saying about voting, to show you how in darkness our country seems to be at times. Chip Roy was getting that vote across. All you had to do is show that you had some kind of birth certificate, whatever it might take to vote, just some ID. All Chip Roy said, you need an ID to be able to vote. Every Democrat in Congress, with the exception of one, said no.
Mm-hmm.
That's not right. How can you say that? All right? Because we know how important that vote is. And to have a whole body of politicians say you don't need ID. It's amazing. I'll leave it at that. It's amazing where we're staying here.
It's mind-boggling for sure. So they know from a deceptive point that the vote matters because they can get these illegal votes, which we've seen now. We've seen the results, the studies that have been done about what happened in 2020. We know what took place with these illegal votes. We absolutely know it now. No one can deny what's been uncovered. And so that again should spur us on. One, you love God, you love your country, you love your family. Two, and in part of that is to get out and do what's right and do exactly what Garfield has said and vote for those people. I mean, this is what we're talking about. These people that love God, these people that are brave, that are intelligent, he said, pure, those kind of people. And brother, you are that kind of guy. And people need to realize that and know that, and don't worry about what all the newspapers say and all the fluff says. You have an opportunity in this primary to vote your heart of hearts. And, hey, I've always supported President Trump with America First, with MAGA, Make America Godly Again. We've done series after series with the acronym of MAGA and everything else. But when I was in the primaries and there was another candidate and Dr. Ben Carson, and when I could vote in the primary, I voted for him because I believed that he was the man of God for the time. And he did okay, but he didn't win. But when President Trump, of course, showed up and blew everybody else out of the water, then we knew where the tide was going. And it's been amazing to see the influence of other godly men and women that have come alongside and really helped to see President Trump get a transformation in his own life, I believe. And we're seeing what is happening today in our country. But brother, this is the opportunity. I mean, my goodness, Florida, if you love Florida and you don't want it to go the way of some other states, you see the attacks that are going on now in other red states, what's going on in Texas and so forth, this infiltration of diabolical enemy forces. We're going to need somebody who's going to be able to stand at the gate and be that watchman on the wall, brother, and be able to stand fast and come against this enemy and be willing to fight the good fight and not be a politician, but be a patriot about it. Because a patriot is concerned about the next generation, as I know you are, and a politician's only concerned about the next election.
I want to show you something here, Pastor John. I don't know if you, but that's the Constitution of the state of.
Got a little feedback there or something.
Are we okay?
Yeah, now it sounds good. So that was the Constitution of the state of Florida.
Right.
Okay,
The
great.
governor shall have power to call out the militia, to preserve the public peace, execute the laws of the state, suppress insurrection, and repel invasion. I want to just jump on that a little bit. You were talking about all the illegals coming in here, all the false voting. I remember in the 1970s when the poor little kids from Africa with the big bellies were coming. They needed help. Those people needed help. And all I could go on is what I saw. But it looked like this last influx of people, backwards hats, knapsacks, cell phones, Nike sneakers, and many times overweight. All right. When Biden was in control, we're talking as many as 20 million
Good deal. All right, well, let's
illegals
go back to
coming
where
into
you were
our
holding up
country.
the Constitution of Florida, and we're going to kick off with that again, if that's all right. We got plenty
Okay.
of time, so don't worry.
All right. Okay, John, what I have here, I don't know if you could see it, but that's the Constitution of Florida,
Yes.
section 1, letter D. The governor shall have power to call out the militia to preserve the public peace, execute the laws of the state, suppress insurrection, or repel invasion. Now,
Yes.
during Biden's time in office, there's claims that up to 20 million people came over that border. 20 million. And you add whether they be pregnant, coming over, in between, having babies after, that could have ballooned as to right now up to about 35 million people. We don't know. All uninvited guests to the dinner table. We remember in the 70s, 70s, early 80s, these poor children in Africa with the big bellies.
Right.
You know, they were starving to death. They needed help. But we see what came over the border this time. Many times it was backpacks, backwards hats, cell phones, Nike sneakers, and many times a little overweight.
Right.
A far cry, right? A far cry. And I view it as covetousness. All right. The word covet, when you take from the Old Testament, it means a very strong desire to have something somebody else has.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, America, we want your roads, we want your food, we want your schools, we want your hospitals, we want it all, and we're coming. And we had nobody to defend us. Where were the 500 people in Congress? Where were the 100 people in the Senate? Where were the 50 governors? If you want to get technical, why weren't we defended? All right, and I put a lot of the blame, or at least a lot of the questioning, in Texas, because that's where a lot of it came through. Governor of Texas, why didn't you stop it? If I were the governor, I would have got all the governors together and said, listen, they're coming in through Texas and they're going to end up in our state.
Mm-hmm.
This has to be stopped. These are uninvited guests. And what happened? You wonder about supply and demand. Basically, the people that came in, the illegals that came in, were like a whole foreign country.
Right.
There's 52 countries in Europe. What came in would have been ranked number 8 or 9. A whole country came in. So what does that do? You know, on the average, John, the average human being, because when I ran for agricultural commissioner, knowing the natural, as far as food goes, eats 2 pounds of food a day. All right. If that's up to 35 million, that's 70 million more pounds of food a day that has to be grown, planted, processed, shipped, taken care of. Talk about a heavy burden on your society when things aren't managed.
Mm-hmm.
When your immigration is managed, that's one thing. That's what we needed. But we're talking the masses came in uninvited, all right? And when that happens, many times the demand for products go up because you have so many more people, the demand goes up, the supply falls down, and now what do you have? You have inflation. You have inflation because things are out of balance. You know, when people are born generationally, things stay in balance.
Right.
But when you just have a big wave coming in, uninvited, things get off balance and start tipping everything. And, you know, if it was up to me, if I was able to do anything, I'd say, because you can't ship 35 or 20 million out. But okay, you can be citizens. You could have the joys of this country. But for the next 4 generations, you can't vote.
Mm-hmm.
You have no say in anything. All right. But you can enjoy it. You could add to society, but no voting because you originally weren't invited. And that's the way I stand on that because we were invaded. We were invaded. And, you know, there's such a pendulum swing and we have to watch out. The pendulum swings have been so great in politics.
Right.
We went from George Bush to Obama. Mm-hmm. That's pretty big. We went from Obama to Trump. Mm-hmm. We went from Trump to Biden. We went from Biden to Trump. And who knows? If Texas goes, Democrat, we might never win another election as far as Republicans are concerned. This is very, very intense what's going on. Mm-hmm. You know, I even talk about gun rights. You don't hear much about gun rights in Florida anymore because everything's pretty good. You get the wrong person at the helm, and you'll see what happens. In 1781, because I know you like history, James Madison authored the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments. The first one, freedom to gather, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. what came right after that. Basically, the freedom to have a militia and bear arms.
Right.
But that was there to protect the First Amendment, because the founders knew they had escaped, the stronghold of the king in England, and they never wanted it again.
Right.
So they put these amendments and these laws into effect. They aren't just words on paper; they mean things.
That's exactly right. The great quote, of course, leading up to that. Let me give you the whole quote real quick here. Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. So said John Adams, of course. Of course, he would know. He was the one who went through. He was the historian of the day. He's the one that looked back at all the history leading up to that time and realizing that, wait a second, we've got to understand what's going on here, and we cannot let these things happen again. And then we look at the way our Declaration of Independence is written, and we look at those 27 grievances that are specifically labeled and written out there, and how those grievances are now put into practice so they won't happen again in our Constitution. It's a miraculous document, to say the least. It's a God-breathed kind of document, because it's just so amazing to see how we could have 13 really different countries, little countries. 13 all had their own constitutions at the time, and were able to come under and come together basically in one accord, right, to pass and to come to battle together and to pass our constitutional convention. Just an amazing move of God through the whole thing, and we got to continue to focus on that fact. And being the governor of Florida means that you will certainly come under the authority of the governor of the universe, and I love that truth.
Well, John, you're a man, you like quotes, and quotes are great because they give you the soul of the individual that was speaking. And what you're doing right now, what I'm doing right now, we're trying to educate people. Wake up. We're basically all Paul Revere's saying, wake up, get away from the TV, get off the cell phone. We're at a crossroads again, but this crossroads might be the final one. But this was a quote from Thomas Jefferson. Freedom is lost gradually from the uninterested, the uninformed, and the uninvolved.
Right.
Gradually. So it takes time. You float away. You don't care. Everything's focused on the sports. Everything's focused on the Netflix. Everything's just focused, even on your little family. All right. I mean, my family, they rather have grandpa going on the pontoon with them.
Right.
All right. But here I am on the trail because I know I have 27 grandchildren. I have 8 children. I don't take it lightly. Because I know our forefathers, and as I said, I have the blood of the founders flowing through my veins, fought to get where we are, and we will lose it. We will lose it if we are uninterested, uninformed, and uninvolved. Yeah. And that's why I'm in.
Yep.
I know that's why you're in.
That's why we fight the good fight, brother.
Yes.
Anything in particular that folks, like you've mentioned a few things already, that folks are, you listen to a typical stump speech, the guys say what they've said and, those kind of things. What are some things that would really separate you that people need to know about? And we're not flinging mud here. We're not doing any of that. But there's something different about a candidate of your caliber when you're thinking about grassroots, when you're thinking about being a lover of God, a lover of country, and a lover of family. You're a different breed than what we've seen a lot. It's kind of in the same difference like President Trump. He was a different breed as for president. We didn't have somebody like him come along really that I can remember anytime looking back to see who he's kind of closely related to. Maybe a little Reagan-esque, maybe a few other things. But President Trump has been really different, really a different kind of candidate. And I think of that when I think of you, brother, because you're not, you don't bow to the special interests. You don't just go with the flow kind of thing. you're different. And again, it goes back to the founding truth of our country. You are founded and grounded in Jesus and his word. And just like so many of our founders were.
Yes. Well, I like to take the word of God to everything, and a few things. We could talk about the big picture, or we could talk about isolated things like AI is huge, like traffic is huge, the urban sprawl is huge, buying up all our farmland, taking away our gun rights. It's almost unimaginable how many topics there are. But what do you need for each one of these topics? What I bring to the table is what I believe is I have a sound mind. In my world, 2 + 2 will always equal 4. I've been married for 44 years. As I said, I have 8 children, 27 grandchildren. I cut my teeth in the freight business. I was a manager of 550 Teamsters from local 430 up in Harrisburg, PA. So I'm not just talking, words. I'm not just gathering a speech out of artificial intelligence. I've lived it. I know what it is to go against hard people each and every day, how to fight the good fight. And then I own my own business with 400 employees. So you know that little bottom left-hand corner where the owner signs the checks?
Right.
I'm no Trump, but I still have signed thousands of checks in my life.
Yeah.
So I know what it's like. And I know giving people jobs, even in the garden, because you're a preacher, in the garden, what was Adam given? He was given jobs. Right? Take care of the garden, name the animals. So he was immediately employed. Yeah. And one thing, getting into the details with AI, we better watch it.
Yeah.
I'm going to just give you a quote here, John.
Sure.
Just to keep the people informed. Now, this is when you talk AI, you're talking, data intelligence and high tech. And you don't get more high tech than Microsoft's CEO. And his name is Mustafa Suleyman, who is Microsoft's CEO in charge of its AI transformation, has forecasted that almost all tech jobs, from marketing to project management to accountants and to even lawyers, will be replaced by AI before the middle of 2027. This is almost so huge, you have to read it 2 or 3 times. Right. This isn't coming from an analyst. This isn't coming from a podcaster trying to get clicks. This is coming from the CEO of Microsoft. All right. And he's not talking about something happening years from now or decades from now or generations from now. He said by the middle of 2027.
Right.
In what? It's going to be June here in a few days. That's in 12 months, according to what he said. And give you a little information on that. Microsoft has 288,000 employees, all right, of which 175,000 are white collar, all in the United States. All the men and women that make the products are basically out. But the technology and the white collar jobs are all here. He's saying, and he's proudly saying it, that 175,000 jobs just with Microsoft are going to get lost. And we also have here Amazon this year, and these are all coming from the CEOs. Amazon losing 30,000, Oracle 30,000, Intel 27,000, Citibank 20,000, Dell Computer 11,000, Estee Lauder 10,000. Between last year and this year, logistically, UPS is losing 92,000 jobs. This is a tsunami coming at us, John. And we have to know how to dance through this, because there's a time and place for AI as far as defending our country, being in competition, whether it be with China or Russia. I get it. I'm not saying flush it, but we better take care of our people.
Yeah.
Because as I said, we were made to work. And when people don't work, and I was looking up an interesting fact. Marie Antoinette, French Revolution, what caused that riot? 20% unemployment.
Right.
When the people aren't working, they're rioting.
Yeah.
Weimar Republic with Hitler, prior to him, about 1930, 20% of the people out of work. They rioted. When people don't work, all right, things get scary. So these are things as a governor, being a manager, knowing what the issues are, taking care of the issues, getting in the pits with the average day guy, realizing he needs his job.
Right.
And things need to change as far as our projections go. But just throw that out.
Yeah. So again, this job loss is all due to AI. So this is just transformation that they're going to be doing. But you don't hear
Yes.
people talking about it because what are these people going to do when they don't have these jobs?
Here's the problem. In the Industrial Revolution, when the automobile came to be, all right, it took away a lot of jobs. But the thing is, it made a lot of jobs. In other words, you had assembly lines, everybody was working. But in this case, they're actually making it, okay, initially you'll have jobs when they build these data centers, which are very dangerous, which I don't like, all right? As I said, not to watch us, to look over us, to surveil us. As far as protection as a government, we have to talk about it because we might have to keep them going for competitive sake with other nations, but not so they blanket everything. But the thing is, with AI, they're making it so robots are going to make the parts for the distribution centers. So in other words, this is a giant web. And you know where this is pointing towards, Pastor John? UBI, Universal Basic Income.
Yeah.
All right. And this is getting very, very scary. And that was the communist eventual thing. Take away the innovativeness of the people, take away their creativity, and just give them a few bucks so they could have circus and candy and enjoy life. It's a plot. It's something that we have to watch out for.
Yeah. Well,
and if I was,
yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, as governor, a governor has to be watching all this, and not just his own state, because we are the United States of America. I would try to make Florida as sovereign as I possibly could.
Yes.
Because what we are, we're in a dangerous situation, even logistically. We're a peninsula. That's all we are.
Right.
We're surrounded by 1,350 miles of water. Okay. If things were to go wrong, let's say 50 feet of I-95 was taken out, just a measly 50 feet of 95, right on the Georgia-Florida border. That's 10,000 trucks that can't get in.
Right.
All right. I think about these things. I think of how would I protect the citizens? And if I got in there immediately, I'd make sure we're safe with our clean drinking water.
Right.
We're safe with our food. Logistically, we have a plan, whether it be domestic or foreign invasions, as our Constitution stated. These are things. My platform basically is, it's my fatherly tendencies, our Heavenly Father tendencies. I will protect us. Yeah. And that's what I want to do. Protect us about things, not just have political jargon, because we are heading into different times.
Yeah, this battle is intensifying. And when you were talking about the AI, the transformation of that, the loss of jobs, which then, of course, brings us back to a communist Marxist plot of, automatic, what did you call it? Automatic income, where the government...
UBI.
Yeah.
Yep.
It really comes from...
Universal Basic Income.
Yeah, so what they're trying to
basically, here's your check and just shut up and be happy.
Right, and that's definitely socialism 101 for sure. It's the ninth plank of Marxism / communism, all the others, is a combination of agriculture with manufacturing industries, gradual abolition of the distinction between town and country, which we've seen that, of course, where the cities have moved out, the suburbs are going away kind of thing, right? And by a more equitable distribution of population over the country. So again, we take away these jobs, and then there's this merging of these two parts, this agriculture and manufacturing industry. By AI taking over, we're talk about combining these. That's on steroids now with AI.
Yes, and we're getting set up. We're getting further and further away from the simplicity of being a human. It's pretty simple to me. We all have to eat. And in Florida, we're losing 45,000 acres, 45,000 acres a year, 125 acres a day to under concrete. under pavement, never to be seen again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in our water level, the basic human being in Florida, if you had a spade shovel, you could dig about 6 or 8 feet and you're hitting water.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a place to explode with population. It truly isn't. But this is the jam we're in. If I was, as I ran for agricultural commissioner, and I would do the same thing as a governor, you know, we have 7 million students. 7 million students. Right from the very beginning, they should be taught agriculture. And I believe by the time they're 14 and 17, it should be on a revolving basis. If you can go and play football 3 hours a day after school,
Right.
if you could be in ballet for 3 hours a day, you could dedicate 1 to 2 hours a day in the framework of your classroom, working out in the fields, learning how things work, understanding what's going, getting a callus on your hands,
Mm-hmm.
bringing the youth into agriculture, because agriculture isn't just under an agricultural commissioner, it's under that thing called food
Right.
and survival
Yeah.
and the basics of humanity.
That's great insight on that, because I never really thought about that, because we've had the other kind of classes, you know, back in the day. We had the vocational schools. Now we're trying to bring those back again, which is really important, I think. But that would definitely be a great help in that area, and that way every student would understand that. If you go back to the founding fathers again, you see that. You go back to Washington, you go back to Jefferson. These guys had lands. They tilled the ground, right? They took care of the things. They were good stewards of what God had given them, and
Yes.
that's just a lost truth and art in our country today. We can bring it back though, for sure.
Well, you know about also, John, is every culture since the dawn of man has fallen because of one thing: labor.
Mm-hmm.
Labor. The indigenous culture got lazy and they started bringing labor in to do the work. They started bringing other people to do the work. And usually it only works for one generation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Like when the Irish came in the 1890s, they came in there, they worked all the factories, but they said, we don't want our kids working the factories. You get where I'm getting at?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is it only works for one generation. That's why I'm an advocate of having the nation's people, and start with the students doing the labor, or at least learning the labor. Keep it in-house. It could be done.
Yeah.
If at least on a parallel level, introduced on a county level, municipality level, bring it back where you're working as a community and it isn't hired hands doing all your labor.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate labor. Appreciate what gets done when you take a bite of your food.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing. And kids don't even know where that, they think it just shows up. I was listening to a little kid the other day talking about their food, and it's where'd it come from? Well, it comes out of this package, or they have no idea of the steps it takes to get to where it is today. So yeah, those are kind of, it seems like a no-brainer, but yet we've gotten so far from that. But we've got to steer it back, like you said. That pendulum for that has to come back the other way, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've been domesticated.
Yeah.
We're soft.
Yeah.
We're soft.
And
the world,
yeah.
we call it progress. Right? We say the less we work, that's more progress. Not necessarily so.
Mhm.
I don't call it progress.
Right.
Many times it's a deception.
Right.
Because when you get soft and lazy, guess what? We have enemies. We have never had anybody come over to this turf. Other than, well, the Civil War, so be it. But I'm talking about a foreign entity coming over here.
Right.
All right. Can you imagine? All right. Can you imagine what would happen?
Mhm.
It could happen.
Yeah.
And as governor, I look at these things. I look at not just a manager, but you're like a father. You're like a babysitter. You're looking after things, and you have to have the vision before things happen as to what might happen, and work on it.
The position of governor is very, very important. Another reason is because of course, of the 10th Amendment, which a government has to stand in that. And I'm thankful for many things that Governor DeSantis has done during his tenure in the realm of 10th Amendment, because anything that's not stated clearly in the Constitution, those powers directed that are given to the federal government, those powers should come back to the state. And a lot of states, if you don't have a good governor, man, you can see what happens. It's clear as day what happens with a governor who is far left and anti-God, and he says he's not anti-country, but of course he is, and so forth and so on. And it just the policies, like you said, and what a great reminder. Politics is from policy to belief to faith. I mean, that's the foundation of it. I love that. And
You got it,
that's
brother.
a great reminder, brother. I'm going to keep talking about that all the time too. That's amazing. Just a great step-by-step truth there. So we've got to continue to press on. We've got to continue to see people become awakened and realize, look, you can't sleep or slumber. Bible's pretty strong about slothfulness, about being
Yes.
lazy. He doesn't say it once or twice in the Word. It's all throughout, Old and New. And you can even look in the book of maps to see something about the slothfulness. Look at the Dead Sea. When there's no inflow and outflow of that, right? What's that sea turned into? From that beautiful Sea of Galilee flying through the river Jordan, coming down to the Dead Sea. There's no inflow. There's an inflow but no outflow. There's no work, right? There's no process there, and it becomes stagnant, salty, and everything else. So
That's right.
day one, brother, what's going to happen when you're up in Tallahassee?
Well, we're going to get on our knees and pray and thank the Lord.
Amen.
Right? That's day one.
That's
And day two, get a good team together and go at it.
yeah.
How's that sound?
Sounds great, brother.
But I wanted to add to what you said.
Go ahead.
Also, another thing is procrastination, John. Procrastination. Missing out on opportunities. That's also in the Bible. A procrastinator falls away quick because basically you become a word artist, a wordsmith. You might say a lot of things. Even in your heart, you may say, I want to do it. But before you know it, time slips away and it doesn't get done.
Mm-hmm.
So even in this voting cycle, get in there and vote. Just don't say it.
Amen.
Vote.
Sounds great.
But thank you for having me on.
Brother, it's been awesome. Thanks. We're going to have you on again, of course. And anything that comes up, you just text me, let me know how things are going. Look forward to seeing you out there on the campaign trail. And just folks, again, you've got to understand what's going on here. There's no mudslinging here. There's no this or that about another candidate. We're just saying, look, you have an opportunity. Florida has an opportunity to have an actual grassroots patriot. Again, Mayflower Society, patriot, where you can understand and know your heart of hearts, a true lover of God, country, and family. That you have a heritage in your own personal family, your business. You've checked all the boxes. You have all the truths that we need for the next governor, brother. And I'm so glad to support you and help you and be a part of what you're doing. So thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you, Pastor John. My pleasure.
God bless you. We'll see you next
Been
time.
a blessing.
Again, don't forget,
Thank you,
you guys, Patriot Church listeners, radio listeners, listen. Continue to stand fast in the liberty by which Christ has made you free, and don't you dare, again, be entangled in any yoke or woke bondage. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time. God bless.